After a third night on the open-air bridge at the border of Mexico and Guatemala, tensions are mounting. There is increasing hunger and illness amongst the migrants. Amid growing desperation, some chose to jump into the water, and others tried to hang on to the fence on the edges of the bridge.
If we have to die here, we will die here instead of returning to Honduras.
In a painfully slow process, Mexico has allowed small groups to cross the border. They woke up in makeshift shelters and have vowed to carry on their journey towards the United States. Some of the migrants staged protests, hoping to encourage Mexican authorities to allow their compatriots to cross the border.
We encourage our comrades on the Guatemalan side to cross the river because the other option via the bridge I do not think will be possible. We want them to come to Mexico so we can continue our journey to the United States.
The procession north has led President Donald Trump to threaten to cut aid to Central American nations.
I would call in the military and I would seal off the border. I would close up the border. If that happens, and if that continues to move forward, we have some very tough criminal elements within the caravan. But I will seal off the border before they come into this country. And I'll bring out our military, not our reserves. I'll bring out our military.
The governments of Honduras and Guatemala echoed President Trump's concerns and are in discussion over a strategy for returning the migrants back to their homes as soon as possible.
Determined to find a better future, more than 3,000 Honduran migrants continue to walk through Central America toward the U.S. Members of the migrant caravan of migrants say they desperately need help and work.
No porque nosotros los vamos, lloramos porque en verdad somos madres, dejamos hijos.
We cry because we are mothers who left our children. Walking this road is a way to ask governments to help us.
The migrants hope they will get support from the Mexican and Guatemalan governments. The Honduran government, in an effort to reduce the number of migrants, offers help to people willing to go back to their country. The Honduran Foreign Ministry told VOA via Skype that the caravan was organized by political organizations offering false hopes.
This was done to affect our governability, the image, the good name and stability that we have in our country.
A legal expert told VOA the so-called immigrant walk reflects a population without opportunities. He says there is no guarantee they can stay in the United States and work.
Poverty, the lack of employment, or gangs are not reasons to ask for political asylum when people arrive to the border. 98% of Hondurans who ask for the political asylum will not get it. What that means is that the vast majority of the people walking will be detained.
Some migrants hold signs that say if Americans are allowed in Honduras, Hondurans also have the right to go to the U.S.
We are young and we need to study, and we know that in Honduras we cannot have that. We don't have a job that will allow us to support our families.
The caravan comes days after Washington hosted the Honduran president and other regional leaders to discuss immigration. Honduras requested help from the U.S. to ease the return of 57,000 of its citizens who will lose their ability to stay and work in the U.S. legally when Honduras' temporary protective status expires in January 2020.
To supporters of President Donald Trump's hardline immigration policies, news of a caravan of Central American migrants heading to the U.S. just weeks before the U.S. midterm elections is a political gift.
Politically speaking, it's probably going to be an election game changer because nothing is more powerful and potent than the idea of uncontrolled masses of people surging into your country.
Thousands of migrants recently crossed Guatemala's border into Mexico by breaking through fences and refusing offers of possible settlement in Mexico. Most are Hondurans seeking asylum in the United States from violence and poverty in their country. President Trump has called the migrant caravan a national emergency. He has threatened to cut off aid to the region and possibly use the U.S. military to completely shut down the border with Mexico if the caravan is not stopped. At a Nevada political campaign rally on Friday, the president wasted no time translating that into an election theme.
The Democrats want caravans. They like the caravans. A lot of people say, I wonder who started that caravan.
Democrats counter that the president is merely trying to shift public focus away from losing issues for Republicans such as health care. Immigrant rights advocates have voiced concern for the safety and security of the migrant group that includes women and children, and are critical of President Trump's harsh rhetoric in categorizing many of the migrants as criminals.
I mean, I think that the caravan becomes an excuse for the president to ratchet up his rhetoric that is quite hostile and demonizing of immigrants, and gets to take away their humanity.
Despite the optics of the large migrant caravan, the American Immigration Council says illegal immigration levels into the U.S. are not increasing. However, immigrant groups are concerned that the caravan threat could be used to mitigate criticism of Trump's past policy of separating migrant families at the border. Meanwhile, anti-American activists are emphasizing the looming illegal immigration onslaught to energize Republican voters and use it to make tougher border security a key election issue. Brian Patton, VOA News, Washington.